Welcome back to Mondays with Megan, this first Monday in May. Today I'm going to continue my story a little bit. We've been kind of prodding through that this whole year. So today I'm going to be picking up some of the threads to the point of 2020 when the entire artifice, the facade of the woke ideology kind of broke around me. So I had been faithfully attending the parades, the marches, the protests, trying very hard to be a good white ally, which included a lot, as I've mentioned, of self-hatred and self-flagellation. One of the things that I noticed in my doing my time there is that I started to see a shift in what my compatriots basically were demanding. Initially, what they would say about conservatives or people on the other side was that they weren't willing to have dialogue. They weren't willing to talk. They weren't willing to show up to conversations. And I started to notice that wasn't really true. But I wanted it to be true, right? That's easy. If you are the good person who's just trying to show up and do the best you can, and the other people won't engage, well, what can you do? You've done everything you can, right? And we had already kind of framed them as immoral, not just bad and wrong, but immoral. And so we didn't really look into whether or not these claims that, oh, they just won't show up, we want to have dialogue, they won't talk to us, if they were true. So it turns out mostly that it's not true. But in the cases that it was true, that people would not show up to speak with us, it's because they knew better. It's actually because they knew that it was a setup. Because this is what I learned later is called character assassination. And I learned that in 2020. This is the example. So everybody knows what happened, right? In 2020. In March, I was sent to work from home indefinitely. And my city shut down. There were literally no cars on the busiest highway. Oh, hi. Yeah. Oh, hi. Hi, buddy. Hi. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want all the pets? You want all the pets? Need to say hi. Oh, hi, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. Is it cold out there? Yeah. Oh, you want to rub your face on the computer? Yeah. If you rub your face on my hand. How about that? The city shut down. People were not outside. I would go for walks, outside, and there would be no one. It felt like the rapture, and I got left behind. I mean, overnight. And my first thought was, surely, yeah, it's better if I pet you rather than the computer. Yeah, yeah. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Monkey. Yeah, yeah. Are you a precious little boy? Are you a precious little boy? You want to be on the camera? You want to say hi? Do you want to say hi to everybody? No, you really don't. You really don't want to, do you? But you're so cute. Buddy. Sorry, this is a really weird video because I'm trying to get him. He's not interested. There you are. There you are. Oh, hi. You're so cute. Yeah, this could go on for a long time, huh? Huh. Anyway, so Oh, are you gonna swat at me? You're gonna swat at me because I stopped petting you? So I'm walking around the ghost town that is Seattle, and I'm thinking, surely people will realize that this is the government can't tell us to stay in our homes. That's false imprisonment, right? Or something. Like that's not A, the role of the government, and B, the government actually doesn't have that power. So, and I was just as freaked out about this, novel virus as the next person, but I thought, for sure this is something that no one will actually do. You can't shut down society. That's not a thing. And I don't see how that really keeps people safe. Anyway, now I'm still very much in the radical leftist camp. I still very much am convinced that all the arguments are right, and Republicans are stupid and whatever. But that question came up, and I also thought, so if the government is structurally and institutionally racist and based on a structurally and institutionally racist document and principles from, greedy white men from 250 years ago, why would we listen to what the government has to say? Why would we let the government boss us around? Wouldn't that be just evidence of more oppression? Also, most of the COVID policies, wouldn't they affect people of color worse? Isn't that the argument? So I would ask these questions. I started asking because I legitimately, in good faith, thought that there was an answer, and that these questions were we were the people who were open to dialogue. The other people, they were the ones who were not open to dialogue. And I quickly found out that that was not true at all. Oh, you swat at me because I'm not done petting you? Is that what just happened? Um, I demand pets. I demand pets. It's a good thing you're so cute. Yeah, it's a good thing you're so cute. Oh, buddy. Um, this video could really be half as long, but you reach your little paw. Are you reaching your little paw towards me? Um, the responses I got instead were, you just want people to die. You are dangerous. You don't care about others. You're selfish. And I was honestly, I was so baffled and so confused. And I was a little hurt, because being accused of being selfish when you're in the field of social work is a little shocking, honestly. So and I didn't know what to do. I didn't realize that we had switched from, we're willing to have dialogue, but they're not, to, if you disagree, you're not just wrong, you're not just immoral, you're dangerous, and you want people to die. I missed when that switch actually happened. But it's definitely happened. It's gone from positioning ourselves as the people willing to talk and the other people are not. And for good reason, they're not. I realize now. Because as Ben Shapiro says, there are only 3 times you should debate a leftist. 1, if your life depends on it. 2, if you find someone who will actually in good faith engage on facts and respectful dialogue. And 3, if you have an audience. Because you're not out to destroy the person. You're out to debate and discuss the issues. So otherwise, don't engage. And that is what I realized. That is what a lot of those right-wing bigots were doing. They actually were disengaging. And I got a taste of why. I was asking good faith questions that I thought had legitimate answers that aligned with the ideology that I was a part of. And instead I got deeply painful, totally inaccurate accusations. across the board. 100%. I'm not kidding you. I didn't ask every leftist in the world, but of the leftists I asked, which were a lot, not one was willing to actually answer my question, take it seriously enough, respect me to take it at face value, and not immediately hurl accusations at me as if I had some ulterior motive besides just wanting answers. That's called character assassination, and that is the weapon of choice. So once that happened, and I didn't realize that that's actually what I was trained to do too, because I would do that too. I would participate in this. I would be talking about abortion with a friend, and I would get a male friend, a white male friend, no less, and I would be incensed that he would even have an opinion. How dare he, as a man, even have an opinion on abortion? I would say these things out loud, unapologetically, to people who I called my friends. This is what I would do. So instead of trying to fight them, they'll be like, no, I'm not. Like, I was so disoriented that I just stopped. I was so shocked that I was like, wait, these people are for justice. These people are for fairness. These people are for equality. These people are they're not for equality. They're for equity. These people are supposed to be for the underdog. I feel like these policies are really going to crush all of these people that they say they stand for. I'm also just very confused about the whole government telling us what to do, even though we say they're racist and oppressive kind of thing. Pretty sure demanding you stay in your house and shut down the entire economy is very oppressive. Now in 2023, yeah, it's pretty economically oppressive to shut down the world economy in a weirdly coordinated fashion. So this was, but I had no idea what to do. I had no idea where to turn. And I also, once I got that feedback that I was selfish, I wanted people to die, I didn't care about anyone, I was being dangerous by asking questions. Well, I've read enough books to know that if you live in a society where it's dangerous to ask questions, you got big, big totalitarian problems already happening. And it's a totalitarian's dream to have the people impose that ideology and that prison on each other. So I saw pretty quick that was happening. I don't know if all y'all were required to read Brave New World and 1984 in high school, but I was. So I'm pretty sure it's like on the banned books list now. Both of those books are. I was required to read those as a freshman. And sidebar, I read 1984 in like 2004, or okay, I wasn't a freshman, but I wasn't a senior there. So like 20 years after, a little bit less. I was in high school, and I was in high school in the year 2000, 2004. And so I'm reading this book. It's horrifying. It's terrifying. It's stupefying. It scares the hell out of me. I had nightmares. I actually kind of still think I have nightmares probably related to that book. But also I wake up and like the nightmare is also real. So I thought though that because it was called 1984, it was about the year 1984. So I was like, wow, real glad, because 1984 was before I was born. I was like really glad that we took care of that. I don't know how we got out of that, but whew, really glad. Yeah, no. So he was just 40 years early in his predictions, as it turns out. So there's that. And let's see. So anyway, sorry. I keep getting messages. I probably just need to ignore my phone. Like that'll happen. Anyway, so I was so shocked that I stopped asking questions, which was probably good, at least out loud, because I had never encountered anything like that from people who not only were all for justice, rah rah justice, but were my friends. Instantly, I was the enemy. because I asked questions. So I was like, okay. I mean, this was much bigger than hurt feelings. Like, yeah, feelings were hurt, but it was also like, really? This is everybody's response? Okay. Something else is going on here. But I was too afraid to ask other people about it because I had no explanation at all. I had no explanation for what was going on. I just knew something was very wrong. Very wrong. And I didn't know what, I didn't know where to start. But it wasn't just the like coordinated shutdown of the entire world, which PS, if all 196 or two, I don't even know how many countries there are, which makes me sound really stupid, I realize, but almost 200, maybe more countries in the world, almost all of them did the same thing. Kind of seems like we already have a one world government, right? I don't think it was coordination. That's never happened in the history of the world. Ever. So anyway, not without like brutal war, actually. And even then, the fact that there's war means there are people who are not cooperating. Everybody cooperated. And those that didn't either got silenced, their presidents got assassinated, or they were just left out of the dialogue completely, which is different than silenced. Anyway, so I shut my mouth because I've been through a situation before where I thought these people around me are really trustworthy, and then something bad happens and it turns out they are not, because of the way they responded. It was like, oh, you're on the side of the people who want to hurt me, you're on the side of the people who did hurt me. This was a church situation. And so I had flashbacks to that, except it was on a massive scale. It was like, I don't know who to trust at all in the world. Not just my little teensy world of the church, but the world. I have no idea what is true at all. Not just that. It wasn't just something is very wrong with this. It wasn't just, I'm pretty sure the government is completely violating anything that a free people governing body over free people should ever do. Not only is this totally unconstitutional, government cannot tell churches to shut down. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. And you benefit from that. You benefit from that inability. I'm not talking just separation of church and state. Though there's that, although that's not in the Constitution, just to be clear. So, but freedom of religion is, and freedom of assembly. That's mostly the thing. And I was not someone who like went around with a copy of the Constitution in my back pocket. I really thought the Constitution was racist, but I was also like, well, the government can't really violate that. They're like, we have a right to assemble. I had no idea. The first time I ever got accused of participating in conservative talking points. He's Oh, I look him up. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, are you mad? Are you mad? Anyway, it's not my fault you're so cute. It's not my fault you're so cute. The first time I got accused of engaging in conservative talking points was right after I started asking questions again, but I was trying to ask them in a like less offensive, inflammatory way, which is not a thing with leftists at all. But I wanted to, and I started asking people. I had a friend who was, slightly more conservative, and I had another friend who up until about 2020 was pretty apolitical. So I would just ask, hey, does this seem contradictory to you? The whole government being racist, but we have to listen to it for our safety thing. Or just various other contradictions that I was starting to see. And there would be a dialogue that my question would be taken seriously. The person might disagree, or the person might say like, oh, I don't think that's really accurate, but here's what's going on. They would take me seriously. They wouldn't immediately assume that I am a a selfish murderer by proxy because I asked questions. So that was a major difference. But when I said, hey, I don't think the government actually can really imprison us in our homes, that violates freedom of assembly, my friend was like, wow, he's a conservative. Wow, I didn't know you knew any conservative talking points. Well, yeah, I didn't, because I was told that entire swath of people were wrong and stupid. So there's that. I didn't ask questions to any of my radical leftist friends for a while, because I thought, well, maybe they're just freaked out by the whole, world shutting down COVID situation. Maybe that's because that's obviously totally unprecedented. So at least in our lifetimes, and really kind of in the whole world, I think, as far as I can tell. Although really, like, some of the stuff that we say is unprecedented. I'm like, well, if you read scripture, it's definitely happened before. But anyway, in living memory, it is. So but that's also when I noticed a shift between the claim that, well, they won't have dialogue with us, we will, and they won't show up, to the self-righteous proclamation that, like, I just don't engage. I don't have time for that. I don't engage with conspiracy theorists. I don't engage with toxic people, meaning conservatives or people who disagree. I don't engage. My mental health is more important than relationships. And I'm not saying that there aren't relationships you need to disengage from, to be clear. But trashing your relationships is not good self-care. I need that on a t-shirt, please. A purple one. So that was kind of my 2020 up until the summer. This is a much longer video than I thought, mostly because of you. Yeah, I'm blaming my cat. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's not my cat. He's my housemate's cat. But he's so cute. Oh, buddy. So to summarize, I thought questions were okay. This is how my 2020 went. World shuts down. I saw a major contradiction. I thought questions were okay. I asked the questions. I got character assassinated by every radical leftist that I talked to. I'm not saying I talked to every single one. I'm just saying the ones I talked to, all of them, same line, same party line, which is just like, okay, so this is much more top down than bottom up coordination. Like, you're not for the underdog. You're not for abolishing power structures at all. I withdrew because I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know if anything that I'd ever been told was true. I realize that's a massive overreaction, seemingly. But when you have when you have an experience that is just really something you've never had before, and it's so unexpected and so not understandable, and it was in the context of an entire world that shut down, and so many people just went right along with it because everybody apparently was so obsessed with safetyism, which makes sense. I mean, you can draw a direct line, and it's a beeline, from participation trophies to content warnings to demand for safe spaces, which is just resegregation, to harmful words lists, to full-blown cancel culture, to safetyism. It's like right there. From, yeah, we want to have dialogue, but they won't, to, oh, I'm too good to engage in those toxic things, which is like, so anybody that disagrees with you is toxic. Cool. That's how adolescents think. Anyway, not even. To starting to re-engage with people who seemed safer, and they just happen to be conservatives. I'm not saying conservatives by nature are safer than radical leftists. They just happen to be the people around me who were willing to engage, because I showed up as a good faith debater. I showed up as someone who was like, I actually want to know the answer to these questions. I'm not trying to poke holes in anyone's theory. I actually want to know. I'm naive. I'm about, educated in terms of the debates on conservative versus liberal at a, I don't know, 5th grade level, because I just ignored conservatives for so long because they had nothing valuable to say. So I'm naive. actually, is what's going on. I freely admit I'm clueless. I don't know what's going on. And I actually want to know. I actually think people want, I've been being told this whole time, educate yourself, educate yourself. So I'm trying to do that. And the only people who would talk to me that I asked happened to be either conservative or apolitical. So that is when I started to explore the other side, the enemy, the dark side, as it were. And that is going to be the subject of my next video. If you want to know, I feel like I'm doing an infomercial. You probably heard all this before if you've watched my videos. If you want to know more about my writing, you can go to meganwildhood.com. If you want to sign up for my free newsletter that is twice a month, called What the Left Gets Right, because I'm not about division. I'm not about bashing the left. There are some things from my former ideology that I actually still agree with. So you can sign up for that at meganwildhood.com, as well as find out about my other subscription levels. My poetry book, my first full-length collection, second poetry book that I've written, first full-length collection, is Bowed as If Laden with Snow, coming out literally this month, this week. So you can go to meganwildhood.com to find out about that as well. I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well, or the description. You can tell how many podcasts I watch every day. As well as the alternative channels that I've created on BitChute and Rumble, in case I get canceled off of YouTube, which is probably going to happen at some point, right? Happens to the best of us. And we'll see you back here next week on Mondays with Megan. Okay, bye.